special envoy to the Middle East. He was the one that picked up Mark Fogel in Russia, had a chance to meet with Vladimir Putin. Steve Witkoff, first of all, thank you. Thank Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Thank the President, everybody involved. I'm so glad this man is home. Well done, my friend. Great job.
Thank you, Sean, and thanks for having me this evening.
We appreciate you being here. Okay, let's walk through. You were the special, by the way, because we're friends personally. I've known you for a long time. And, you know, your life has changed rather dramatically in the last 8 months, and you're involved in a lot of high-level negotiations to bring peace around the world. And then the next thing I know, you're headed to Russia, and you're bringing home an American hostage held for 3.5 years and meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. I would say your life has changed quite a bit.
Well, it's changed in the sense that the president has given me a gift of doing something larger than I've ever done before, helping others. It's a blessing for me, and I'm just so grateful to him.
Let's talk about how this was all unfolding. Tell me from the beginning what your involvement was, and let's talk very specifically about you boarding that airplane, your own airplane is my understanding, and flying over to Russia, and what all of that was like and what took place.
Well, we had a reach out from someone who is a go-between between the Russian government and the American government, and I presented it to our National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz. In addition, Marco Rubio, John Radcliffe, our CIA director, and our Vice President, J.D. Vance, as well as Susie Wiles, with the President. And we all determined that it was credible, that there was an opportunity to get Mark Fogel back, and that I should pursue it. And the President, as he usually does, listens carefully, decided it was actionable, and said, hop on the plane and let's hope to get a good result. And that's really how it happened, Sean.
So when you got on the plane, you did not know the ultimate outcome?
You know, we thought we had a very, very good chance of Mark coming back. We weren't positive. There were still some things that I'm not at liberty to talk about tonight, but there were still some things that were up in the air. But we thought it was a strong enough opportunity that we had to go and hopefully we'd have a good result. And of course we did. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the Fogel family, and I'm grateful for the world to see our friend Sean greet Mark Fogel last night. He called it the privilege of his life to meet the president. It was snowing out. He came out in his coat, greeted Mark, spent time with him like they were best buddies from their college years. It was really beautiful to watch.
I know the president had a very long conversation with Vladimir Putin today of great significance, including ending war in Europe between Russia and Ukraine. We know President Zelensky has now expressed a desire for this war to come to a conclusion and a negotiated settlement. I interviewed him myself. When you got there, did you get time with Vladimir Putin?
You know, I can't talk about that, Sean, because
fair enough.
I thank you. I thank you.
Okay, but you know, to me, if we're going to look at the broader picture, and you really want to help negotiate a peace in the Middle East, and the president meeting with King Abdullah, I thought made a lot of progress. I heard things come out of Abdullah's mouth that I never thought I'd hear from the king, and others in the region seem more open to what is a really innovative new idea. We'll go in, we'll clean up the rubble, we'll get rid of we'll demilitarize the area, we'll create jobs and a beautiful new city, you know, for the people there. That to me would be innovative, and that's the broader context, and I know you're working hard towards that. What is the broader context here when you have President Zelensky on the one hand saying that he is now open to a negotiated settlement, and this gesture from Vladimir Putin? I can only interpret that as both sides now seem ready to talk peace, and they want the death, the destruction, to come to an end. I would imagine that settlement would probably look something like, okay, Ukraine agrees not to join NATO. They probably would give up some of the areas in Ukraine that have heavy Russian populations, a little bit of land in the process as well, and also have assurances of their security moving forward. Does that sound like the parameters of a deal that might occur?
It sounds like you should be running the deal yourself, Sean.
I don't have your great negotiating skills, Steve. You're far more charming than I am. Lastly, tell us your take on where we are in the Middle East. The president has drawn a very, very a tough line in the sand. Saturday at noon, or all hell breaks loose. What do you think happens?
Well, first of all, Sean, the president, in his typical sensible, grounded way, looks at Gaza and says, we've been doing it the same way for 50 years, and here's where we end up, in the same place, with a city that's been destroyed. Maybe it's time to start to think a little bit differently, be more uplifting in our thoughts with regard to Palestinians and what the opportunities should be for them, not to live in an area that's decimated, but alternatively to have prospects for jobs and economic success and to change their lives. And that vision also holds true with regard to Hamas. He is just intolerant of terrorist activity, as most of us are. I think his sense, and certainly my sense, I agree with him completely, is that that whole region has been held hostage to Hamas. And we're just not going to have it anymore.
Demilitarized. And Iran can no longer be funding these proxy wars the way they have. You were on the plane with Mark Vogel, for this trip home from Russia. When he got to the White House last night, he was obviously very emotional, but also extraordinarily humbled and grateful and happy to be home. 3.5 years is a long time to spend in a Russian prison. Any insight as to how he was on the plane?
Sean, he was amazing. He talked to his mom. She's 95 years old. He talked to his wife. He called his children. We had a discussion about not playing the victim, being grateful for this opportunity. Other people who were left, who unfortunately we didn't get out, and hopefully we will in the future. They didn't have this opportunity yesterday. He's an exceptional man, and he was wonderful with the president. He got out of the car entering the White House, and he had the American flag draped around him, and he expressed how grateful he was and the honor that it was for him to have been invited to the White House last night. The president took him upstairs to the Lincoln Room, and he saw the original Gettysburg Address, and I think he was pinching himself even after 3.5 years in prison. I think he considered himself to be fortunate. He's an example of a very, very courageous person, and I'm glad I had the privilege to meet him, to know him. I'll stay in touch with him and to play a small part in getting him his freedom.
All right, Steve, great job. We appreciate it. I think you're pretty humble on all this. We're grateful he's home. All right, joining us.